Hello and welcome back to the Wrexham Way. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's episode as we properly kickstart the new season following yesterday's transfer special, where there seems to be a little bit of disagreement on how good these transfers actually are, how much we've actually improved the team. Now, for me, I think we have improved the team and hopefully we're going to show you that this season, but I will admit we are still lacking in terms of reputation, which is hindering us and our ability to sign marquee players. I suppose only Mantle in goal and Vasco Sousa in the attacking midfield or centre midfield are big improvements on the team. The other signings are kind of more on the backups, I suppose, but we did come 8th last season. I do think we've got a team good enough to get back to that sort of level this season, and I think those additions should help us in doing so. So if you agree with me, make sure you do drop a like on the video for me. If you don't agree with me, a like would still be lovely, thank you very much. So if you could drop a like, that'd be great. Subscribe if you're new around here, and of course, leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. So, since you guys were last here, there have been no more signings to the club. I've not tried to sign those youngsters back to the club at all because instead we're going to promote some youth players instead. That's probably a little bit overdue, so we're going to do that today. You'll also notice that George Rankin's had a bid from RB Leipzig meeting his release fee clause. He's rejected the contract again, so just doesn't want to join a German club. I'm still thinking that he will probably end up leaving the club at some point to go to one of these German clubs or somewhere else, because surely at some point a club has got to come along and entice him enough. I don't want to offer him a new contract because I think £45 million is a lot of money and we should accept that if it does come in, but it's difficult to know. He's also on 60 grand a week, one of the club's top earners to be fair, so I don't really want to give him a contract that's going to give him a ton more money than that. And I also don't think he's the be all and end all. I think we will get people in the future who will be better than him as well, so I don't want to give him a big bumper contract and then it turns out he's not that great and we get someone better in, just like we did with Sione. We've learnt from that mistake. So the first game of the brand new season pits us against Newcastle United, the team that beat us on goal difference to get European football last season, which is rather frustrating. So they've not been drawn anything yet because I don't think they've got to that stage of the qualifying rounds just yet, but Newcastle should be in the Europa Conference League this coming season if my memory serves me correctly. So I mentioned about promoting some players to the first team, and I've decided that is the best thing to do, although some players have since gone out on loan. Bobo Balde, Juan All and Mike Ward all leaving the club to go and play in the Championship on a full-time basis this season. Probably better for them development-wise to play in the Championship for one more season before being a bit part in our squad right now. So all these players out on loan, I'm just going to remove them from the first team, move them to the 23s, so we've got a bit more room to look at players on here. Now, Thad Davis, we spoke up before, he's been moved to the first team. Ewan's back this season to be in the first team as well, but they're not going to play in this first game. You'll notice that Laurie Hobson and George Rankin, though, are not in the team. This is due to injuries and fitness concerns, so they aren't going to play on the left and the right wing to start off in today's game. The team is actually very familiar to last season, albeit we have made a couple of tweaks to the team. Mantle starts in goal, obviously the new goalkeeper, but the back line is pretty familiar with Suntesic, Felipe, Saliba and Neto in it. Lavia has changed though. He's no longer an anchor. I've changed him to a defensive midfielder on support, although I think maybe on defence might be just a little bit better actually. In fact, I might do it just now. Put him onto defence instead, just to try and hold that back line a little better. We've gone from 2 centre mids on attack to a centre mid on attack and of course a playmaker, which Sousa will be filling in this season with some great passing, great vision, great technique and great first touch. I think he'll be threading passes through to our attacking line beautifully. Of course, Daniel Patrick doing the work, getting forward as well. On the right-hand side, to replace the injured George Rankin, I'm bringing Sione in to play as an inside forward. He can play on that right-hand side, and it might be a new lease of life for him to play as an inside forward. Fits the bill really well, aside from the long shots and passing being a little bit low, but I'm sure he can get on that at some point. On the left-hand side of the pitch, though, is a youngster. Ilan Weeks has come through our youth development system, has been on loan in previous seasons at Chesterfield, Dagenham, Redbridge, Bordeaux and Panathinaikos, playing quite well last season there in the Greek top flight. He's currently League One standard. I think he's a bit better than League One standard, if I'm honest with you, but I think he does deserve a run of fixtures in our first team to try and develop a little bit, to try and get him to become a decent Premier League player for us. And to be honest, I'd rather be starting him right now than maybe Carlos Andre, who's just not really developed too well. Of course, we have the option of Thad Davies as well. I've just given Weeks the chance right now because he's got slightly better match sharpness than Thad Davis. Of course, we do need to talk about the Bulgarian guy, and I can't quite say his name fluently just yet. Panayotov, that took me a few attempts to say, but I'll edit them out because I'm not going to look like an idiot on camera. He is looking superb, and I think at some point he will swap with Daniel Patrick. But Daniel Patrick, for me, the better player on paper right now. I think it's good for him to start this season and then slowly start to swap them over. But that's my thinking at least. That's my 2 cents on that situation. So that's the team. Let's submit it and let's see if we can get a result against Newcastle in this first game of the season. I am really hoping actually that Newcastle mess things up at the start of this season. They're going to be too focused on European football. It all goes wrong for them. They drop down towards the bottom end of the table, and hopefully we can capitalise on that and finish above them this season. But right now we're having some defensive errors at the back in the first 20 seconds of this game, not getting shots blocked or clearing the ball properly either. We've played so many friendlies, we've done so well in pre-season, beating some really decent teams as well, but immediately we give away a penalty, although it's being checked on VAR if it was inside the area or not. Outside the area, that's so lucky because I was pretty convinced it was inside the area. So that ends the highlight, no penalty, that's all we need to know. That could have been the worst start possible to the season if Wrexham got a penalty inside the first minute. Instead, it's a almost brilliant start to the season for us. The ball off the crossbar nearly bounces in the back of the net. Wan-Bissaka comes to clear it off the line. And unfortunately for us, we don't get the opening goal. But we could throw a Vasco Sousa free kick into Luis Felipe, who puts it just over the bar. We are trying our best right now to get some goals in this game. And currently, I think we are the better of the two teams playing right now, even though we are away from home to Newcastle. But we have to be careful. We have to be able to clear our lines properly and get challenges in properly. And right now, we can't do both as Neto battles on that right-hand side of the defence. Can't quite do it properly, but Suntesic does get in the way, and Weeks can find the ball to Daniel Patrick. Daniel Patrick holds at play, inside to Lavia, inside to Vasquez. Got so much room to find a ball through to Pereira. Not quite the ball we need. They're not quite on the same wavelength just yet. I'm sure they will be soon enough. That's a good ball to Daniel Patrick, who, again, just can't quite thread it through to our striker. I'll be honest, I wish we could have 12 players on the pitch. I think we need that defensive stability of Lavia in this team still. We need the CDM there, but having two strikers would be perfect. We have too many wingers, as Pereira puts it over the bar, you hate to see it. We've got too many wingers to not play wingers. A diamond would actually work really well for us right now, I think. But we don't have the spare room. Oh, it's interesting, isn't it? If you watched the Streamer Showdown this past weekend, the formation that we used there, the 4-1-3-2 essentially, I think that would work really well with this team. We've got the players to make it work. The issue is we just have a lot of wingers, and I don't want to sort of waste all the money on... Oh, well. Maybe we need to focus on defence first, because that's a horrible way to concede a goal. Luis Felipe just gifts the ball to them inside the penalty area. What was he thinking there? Mansell clears it out. Won in the air by Wan-Bissaka. Baldy brings it forward. It's a terrible pass. And it's Neto, actually, who loses possession. Neto just tries to pass it to Felipe. Maybe not seeing the... How has he not seen the Newcastle striker just there to score? So, I would say against the run of play, although the XG and, of course, the shots and everything like that is suggesting that Newcastle are the much better team here today. From the highlights we've seen against the run of play, this feels a bit unfair. We've had plenty of chances, we just can't get that final ball through to Pereira, and if we do, he doesn't actually put it in the back of it, he puts it off target, which is rather frustrating. As Daniel Patrick shoots from distance, that's a shot on target, but it actually has been saved by the keeper. I think potentially we need to switch things up in the second half. Our front three are not performing at all. So Weeks maybe is a League One quality player, and maybe we need to be swapping him with Carlos Andre for the future, although I'd still like to get him out on loan at some point because I think he'll develop better on loan than playing the odd game for us. Great defensive challenge there from Weeks, actually, in the right-back spot as opposed to being on the left wing. Not entirely sure what that one's about, as Luis Felipe clears the free kick. Lavia can clear it further, but it's only as far as Newcastle players right now. Come on, lads, let's get these challenges in. Let's make sure we can stop this Newcastle side from scoring against us. We can't. 2-0. Not the most ideal of games right now. Mansell into Luis Felipe. We need to change some things in a second, but we'll do it after this highlight, as this ball forward is terrible. If Newcastle score a third here, it's game over. If we can get a goal back, which we could do, and we do, you love to see it. Pedro Pereira with his first goal of the season. Fantastic stuff for him, the man who got 21 goals. Was it 21? I think it was 23 goals last season, actually, in the end. Hopefully the first of many this season. But that, hopefully, is going to help us out getting back in this game. Great ball over the top from Daniel Patrick. He's going to come off the pitch in a minute, I think, despite getting the assist, because before that, he was on a 6.5 rating. Tactics, then. Let's change this up just a little bit. Let us get Panyotov onto the pitch. Let's also get Weeks off as well, although we've got no one who can play left wing. This was maybe an oversight on my part. Well, maybe what we do then is switch to the showdown formation instead. And then we have Sousa, Panayotov, and then on the other side, maybe let's bring on Nick Batsner. Now, who's got a left foot? You've got a reasonable left foot. Sousa has got a weak left foot. So we'll leave Batsner on that left-hand side. Up top, we'll put Pereira there, and we'll bring Ricardo Pepe on as well as a player. Pepe's got a fairly strong left foot, so it's probably best to swap these two guys over. Also, advance forward may be slightly better for Pepe than a false 9, although they can play in those positions quite nicely. False 9 is actually quite good for Pedro Pereira. So, swap those two over like that. Confirm. This could be the change we need to try and get a goal. It's a big tactical change. It's a big shift from what we normally do, but it worked very well in the showdown, so I think it might work quite well for us. And immediately, Ricardo Pepe is moments away from scoring his first goal. Great defensive recovery from Newcastle there, but the two strikers already working quite well, I'd like to think, as the corner comes in, cleared out from the back. Hopefully that's the end of the highlight, unless we get the ball back and go and attack them once again. But Newcastle end the highlight. Okay, all of a sudden as well, we are boosted in shots. I'm not quite sure if we were doing that just before the tactical tweaks as well, but we're going to go attacking. I'm going to shout demand more. Neto on the ball right now into Vasco. Back to Neto. Neto is under pressure. This time doesn't give the ball away, and Pereira can pick it up in the attack. He plays it back to Vasco. Vasco over to Nick Batsner. Nick Batsner shoots from distance, and that is what you call a goal, and that is what you call an assist. Vasco Sousa providing those assists. That was absolutely beautiful from him, to be fair. I am thoroughly impressed by what he's just done there. This is the ball and a half. Left foot, curling ball into the edge of the penalty area. Batsner, one touch to control, another touch to shoot. 2-2. We brought it back in this game, and I reckon we can go on to win this one now. I reckon we can go on to win this. If I can just do another shout in a moment's time to encourage the team. Can I not do shouts yet at all? Come on, let me shout. Shout. Encourage. Right, let's try and get this goal right at the end as Newcastle look to come forward. Can we stop them scoring? If they score a third goal now, I'll be quite annoyed, to be fair, after all of this bravado that we are so fantastic. The ball cleared out from the back, but only as far as Frimpong. Back to Scott McTominay, into Marcos Alonso, who hits the crossbar. That's the warning shot from Newcastle with 3 minutes to go in this game. Given that we were so evenly matched with Newcastle last season in terms of league position, I suppose a draw is probably a reflective result of where we should be, but you'd love to be able to get that win over. I'm going to call Newcastle a bit of a rival right now because of that European stuff, and Neto wins the ball. Brilliant. We're passing the ball forward nicely now. Pepe gets it into Lavia, gets it forward to Pereira. This could be the last chance for us as Panyatov shoots from distance and maybe shouldn't have shot from distance. Had better options in front of him. Should have passed it. That's the young inexperience, though. I'm sure he'll learn from that as the clock ticks down. I tell you what, it's a good comeback. And I think it maybe might point us in the direction of where we need to look tactically this season. But when Rankin comes back, and when, of course, Hobson comes back, that's when we're going to have a bit of a dilemma. Pepe makes his debut, obviously very lucky not to score a goal. Great last-ditch challenge and tackle there from the Newcastle defender to stop him scoring his goal. But I'm sure if he does that again, he'll score plenty more goals this season. I think we might experiment a little bit this season. Laurie Hobson's still out for a good 3 weeks or so. Rankin is probably back for the next game or so. Again, I'm not quite sure when we'd use each formation. Next time out, though, we're going to come back pretty soon, I think, for Wolves and Crystal Palace. Just on the grounds we've not done either of those two teams for too long, I don't think. And there's international break after Crystal Palace too. So we'll do Wolves and Palace next time out. So thank you so much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And of course, if you have done, make sure you drop a like on the video for me. Subscribe if you're new around here and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, have a good one. Goodbye.